Giants are winning.
Welcome in, folks, to another Popwell cast. I am here with my color commentators, Matt Morrison and Raina Fagans. Guys, what is it going on and how's it going? Matt, it's been a while since you were on Regan's Corner with one of these broadcasts.
I mean, yeah, it's going great. Nothing too much. Same old, same old. Since the last time I've talked with you guys.
Absolutely, Raina. Coming into play here, the Satellites are 16-3, destroying the Knox Redskins in their last time out here.
Yeah.
So what do you see here in this PCC game against rivals here in Satellite Gym?
I mean, I don't care what the records are. By the way, I was on mute when I was talking. I was just trying to live the adult life of not being a college student anymore. But both I don't care what records are record wise, but rival games usually can go either way. It doesn't matter if the team's 11-1 and the other one's 4-5. It could go either way. Like the momentum is in both teams, so anything can happen in a rivalry game.
Absolutely. Let's kind of look at Benefield a little bit here for Westville, sophomore. Going to be really good in the next couple of years, but it's a very young team for Westville. So against this veteran team in South Central, what do you guys think the score is going to be? Not seeing the scoreboards.
It's gonna be close. Maybe
Okay. Okay, Matt, what was your score again?
Maybe like South Central, but I mean, they've been doing pretty good on the year. Maybe like a 10-point game or something. They might come in and beat the heck out of them.
Yeah, no, I'm betting on the Satellites have been on a roll lately. They just look so clean recently. I'm not think it's going to be a close one at all here. Especially since the rivalry, it's even more gusto that the Satellites have even, added on to being on the home court.
Absolutely. I think Ben Anderson, who's 41-4 in his career here at South Central for his first 2 years, I think he's going to run the score up here.
Absolutely.
Against kind of rivalry opponent, and with her coach Welling, Jenna Welling, in our first year here, about 8-7, pretty respectful record here, about 500 going into PCC. South Central's played a lot more games so far, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think the Satellites have given us really any reason to think that they're not going to dominate this game here.
Okay, so who's your guys' X factors for this game today?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I'm going to go with one of the Mark sisters. Olivia. I think she's a strong leader here, and I think I'm hoping to see some threes from her.
Absolutely. I'm going to take the other Mark sister, and I'm going to take Sadie in that post. Even though Benefield's about 6'1", she's more of their guard kind of player, kind of like Sadie is, but I feel like Sadie Marks is quicker. I feel like they're
Absolutely,
going to
she's
have a
quick.
little bit more ISOs.
How
Yes,
about
Matt.
Lillian Tolman?
Okay. I
I'll go
like
with
it.
Tolman.
Yeah, I mean those are the kind of the big three. I think on the satellites,
I mean,
I
they're all
often call their
captains.
names out.
They're all captains. I mean,
Yeah, I
for
mean
a
they
reason.
show it. They show it every day on the court.
Oh yeah, all
Absolutely.
8 of them.
So, yeah,
Or
I
9
mean,
of them. Did they add a player?
yeah, I
Since I-
mean, it seems like they added basically their whole JV roster for this game.
Yeah, I see. Because I haven't seen the name Addison Bruce at all.
Yeah, so Addison Bruce has been in, like, on and like kind of sitting and stuff like that. She's going to get in a couple games because
Yeah, I
of
was
the
gonna say, I remember.
blowouts.
Yeah, seeing her and I believe Samantha Marks also has been in a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yes,
And she played really well the last time I saw her in.
absolutely. All three Mark sisters you could put for the X Factor.
Mhm.
Livia, Sam, Sadie. Same with the Welshes. Hope Welsh last game out had 21 points. Feeling streaky here with her 3-point shots. When she gets hot, it's going to be hard for the Satellites to lose in the PCC if they're this on fire. Because when you have all 5 starters, just anyone can beat you on any night kind of mentality. And then you add a Sam Marks who off the bench is starting to get it as a freshman. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, and they look confident. The last game I saw them, it was they were blowing them out, but when they're on the court, they're serious. They're in the game. Nothing can really take them out of it. Like you were saying, I haven't seen since the early beginnings of the season them fall short really at any significant amount of time during a game.
Okay. Okay, so it's almost game time. We're going to jump to the starting lineups, and we're going to let Mr. Steve Nedza, the PA announcer, go call the starting lineups in a second here, as soon as I get into it.
Number 14, Andrea Benefield. And another forward, a junior, number 24, Addison Sonati. And one guard, a sophomore, number 3, Miranda Sparks. And another guard, a junior, number 34, Lauralee Mellon. Rounding out the guards, a senior, number 12, Madison Stark. The Blackhawks are coached by Jim Wadding. With a conference record of 5 wins, 0 losses, overall record of 15 wins and 3 losses. Let's keep the starting line of your South Central Satellite. A 5'10" junior, number 30, Sadie Mars. A 5'5" junior, number 32, Cole Welsh. A 5'7" senior, number 33, Lillian Tolman. A 5'8" senior, number 40, Olivia Mars. 5'6" senior, number 24, Kate Wells. Satellite to coach by Ben Anderson.
Yeah, looking good.
Rock and roll.
Satellites lose the tip here. Santi swings it over. They're trying to break the zone here. Guys, Satellites kind of going in a zone. That's kind of unusual for them to go in at 1, 2, 3.
They just saw something different from their from watching film and decided to go with that type of defense.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, Matt, Olivia Marks with the steal right here. Quickly, Reina's pick of the game gets a key play here.
Yeah, she's in already. But yeah, no, that 2-3 is great. They're able to get those traps, and those top two players work real hard.
And the Satellites with their motion offense going and getting Olivia Marks with a
That's always a good way to start the game. You know, you start up firing, get that 3-point lead.
Absolutely.
Right, and that press has been giving a lot of teams a lot of trouble lately.
Absolutely, and Benefield just throws it into the third deck after, like you said, Reina, that press is just deadly. That trap when they get in the half court after somebody breaks it, if they break the diamond.
Yeah, that diamond press, you have to break it through passing. And, you know, the Satellites have such great basketball IQ that they can read those passes very quickly. So you have to be real confident in your passes on baking that diamond press.
Absolutely.
Which a lot of teams aren't.
Now the Satellites going into that curling kind of flex offense that they've shown. To try getting people open for that three or a driving lane.
Yeah, big thing I like about the Satellites is they're real patient. They wait for a good shot instead of forcing things, which is easy to do when you're running an offense for that long.
Blackhawk basketball.
And off Olivia Marks. And the Satellites go back into that press defense there.
It's just overwhelming to pin down that ball, knowing that we're going to be immediately defending like that. Look at that. There's another steal from it.
Absolutely. And Lillian Tolman draws the foul after the assist.
See,
from St.
most of the time, one or two things are going to happen in that situation. When you get a steal in transition and you're already in the press, either you're going to get a clean lane or you're going to get fouled like that. 9 times out of 10, this is what is going to happen.
Absolutely. And textbook formation here. I mean, just absolutely with that finger on the ball there from Lillian Tolman there, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few pointers for her form, but it looks good. It's working. I mean, it works for him, obviously.
Absolutely. Nice in bounce play. Just didn't go in for Sadie Marks. Rebound to Benefield. So,
see, again, you could just see those good decisions there. It's easy to, you know, not see that defender behind you and go for that shot, and you're probably going to get blocked, not make it, but great IQ and just seeing the whole court.
Absolutely. Another steal from a Mark sister, you know, Livia with that. And Hope Welsh with a three. Seems like Hope is continuing her hot streak
Timeout,
from the Knox game
Blackhawks.
with a 3-ball right there and knocking it down.
Right. I think one of the keys to beating the Satellites is to not letting them, right at the beginning, gain control. Because at that point, they don't lose it. Kind of the opposing team's best bet is to go out hot at the beginning and fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we see teams, I think a lot of teams think that, I think the Satellites run quite a fast-paced game in general, so they think going in, slowing it down kind of gets them out of their element, but every time a team goes out with that, the Satellites just beat them with energy. They want it more.
Yeah, absolutely. The energy is, always top notch.
And it's controlled too, which is a hard balance.
They're calm and collective.
Yeah, smooth, clean.
Starks
peaking at
draws
the
the
right time
foul
here.
here. Let's see here. Check.
Yeah, I think these foul shots are going to be big for Westville.
That on that play.
Really, the only free points you're going to get from the Satellites is on that free throw line.
Westville trying to create that stonewall type of defense, try not to make them drive in a lot. But they also have to get on them on the perimeter too, because they can hit that shot. Look at that little shot. Even though she didn't make it, I mean, you can't let them get looks like that.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I was playing against the Satellites, one of the things I would drill hard in that practice right before is those closeouts, because they need to be solid, because they can drive and shoot a clean three.
And that right there, what she just did, she pulled back and reset. I'd keep driving. You want to put as much pressure on them, make them foul you, because they only have 8 or 9 players. So one of them gets in trouble, you're already at the advantage. So now look, they're confused, trying to get it around, trying to get it in. When they were halfway to the lane already. Should just try to finish it.
Lillian Tolman brings it up here. 3 minutes and 36 seconds here to go in the first. Benefield with a steal here.
Yeah, good job by that. This surrounding and filling up that
Starks
hole.
with an air ball.
All right, we see the Satellites doing that kind of pass and cut play here. He seems setting up the offense.
But another open three by Hope Walsh just misses it.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going to see.
Swings it over, and Tolman punches it out. It just happens to go to another Blackhawk. Benefield draws the foul here with Lillian Tolman reaching in.
All right. Let me see. Westville able to get that down low shot in. The Satellites bring it back up. 7-3 Satellites. As they're doing their pass and go play here. And there we go. Pass out to I believe a deep 2 there. And makes it as they set it back up in their diamond press. Westville trying to break it. And they're able to.
They got to move quick passes to create quick lanes.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick
like
opportunities.
Those
You got to
passes,
move.
those quick decisions is what you need to beat the Satellites.
Just like that. Get them in foul trouble. It's already working the way they wanted to.
Right, yeah, and I think the Satellites, if you let them get set up in their defense, multiple times during your offensive set, you really have no hope of breaking it. So they were able to do there is to get them sort of out of position to get a layup and a foul. Yeah. The Satellites bring it around. Here we go.
Here comes that corner 3. Oh man, in and out.
Right.
How about that rebound down there? 3 people around her.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Right place, right time there.
Yeah. That's a tough crowd. Tough crowd down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mallor with a nice rebound, and then coming back, and just over the head of the 5'7" Olivia Marks.
Yeah, and they're able to break that press pretty well this last time. Let's see if they've actually figured it out, and they can repeat it. Yeah, and there you go. They figured out how to break that press. Second layup off of that.
And Benefield driving in a nice little layup, like you guys have said.
Oh, look at them. They're setting up their own little reverse diamond press.
Yeah. See, but you can't let them get inside like that because you're forced to foul. I mean,
I don't think it's a great idea to
press
the Satellites
because they have the whole court. Wherever it goes, somebody has to be there.
Mm-hmm. They have great passing. They can do those long passes.
I mean, you have to double team. You're gonna have one. You have to have at least one person one-on-one, so it can be evened up. But double team the main players, force the supporting cast to make tough shots.
Absolutely, but when you're pressing a team that presses almost all the time, or at least 75% of the time, I mean, they're going to do it in practice. So you got to be ready to do the traps, especially when you're scouting a team like this with South Central. You can see right now the trap is coming.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, they have kind of opposite presses there. The Satellites having kind of a reverse diamond, and the Westville doing the traditional one at the top.
Absolutely. Kind of more of a zone when you're coming in, kind of a trapping zone here that the Satellites were kind of showing there. Because as soon as they went in, you could see the trap was about to come.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of trapping. I feel like the beginning of the season, that was a big part of their game, but recently they've been able to go without it. So exciting to see that trapping come back.
Absolutely, but they need a rally here. 7-10 here in the first quarter. For you guys at home and for you guys who don't know the score of this game, since it's a rebroadcast, what have you seen from the Satellites and the Blackhawks here in the first quarter?
Right. I mean, we've seen obviously both of them pressing. First time I've seen both teams press in the basketball match. And we're looking and seeing kind of for the first time also the Satellites, their press being broken consistently. So a good practice for the Satellites. They definitely need to see that before the tournament, the PCC tournament.
Absolutely. Especially when you're going to be playing against Washington Township again, even though you've beaten them by 20 last time. And then most likely you're going to see Couts or Tri-Township, but you haven't seen Tri-Township yet. And and that is your arch rival. So that would be a very interesting game for the championship game here in the PCC.
Right, you got to see like the one-on-one there, like keeping the Satellites defense spread out is leaving them for some opportunities to get some shots up. Might make that one.
You can hear Anderson in the background going Loyola, trying to get into that Loyola of Chicago kind of flex here, as they do with Olivia Marks with the drive.
Yeah, a very quick drive there, very confident going in. There's not much you can do to stop that.
Yeah, except maybe foul.
Yeah, you could foul.
So, Matt, your strategy with Olivia Marks is kind of a hack-a-player situation, like a hack-a-Andre situation.
What'd you say?
So, your strategy for the girls in the PCC for Olivia Marks is a hack of Andre or a hack of Ben Simmons kind of situation, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Satellites really aren't challenged, I would say physically. I feel like they've look like the strongest players on the court almost every single time. So honestly, a bit more aggression I think is needed by the other teams in the PCC.
You just want to out physical your opponent. Even if they come in and beat you, you want to out physical them. You want to out tough them on the court. I think that's one of the main goals. If you can't square up against them one-on-one because they're more talented, be the most physical team.
Absolutely. And so far, the Blackhawks, that's kind of how they're staying in it a little bit with the rebounds, with kind of drawing some fouls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I in there. It's like I think the Satellites have a lot of hustle themselves, and you have to out hustle them. You have more players than them, you know you do. So you should have more energy than them.
Out muscle.
And speaking of out muscling, Sadie Marks with a nice little post move there.
Right, yeah, they're man now, looking solid.
And Kate Welsh with the steal there, just misses the layup, gets the rebound back, swings it to Hope Welsh, and there's a Welsh connection.
They have to pick up that assignment. Like, who's guarding her? You can't leave her wide open like that.
You know Hope makes threes. You know that. She's consistently shown it throughout the season. And a bit frustrating as a coach to see no one really on her.
And yeah, especially now since she's been streaky, especially with that Knox game having 21. I would be scouting the heck out of that game and seeing her open spots because she's just drilling it. It looks like a beach ball, that run right now for her.
I mean, that was a point for them too. Just bad decision on that dribble. Should have just gone straight up there. Probably would have got fouled too.
As a sophomore, I mean, that's something you kind of learn throughout your time. You just gotta go, like you said, you just gotta go up on that one.
Yeah, I think confidence in your shot is something that can really make or break your game in basketball.
And there's a Marks connection. Sadie with assist to her sister, Sam Marks.
You know, the Satellites are pretty comfortable right now. They get that good 10-point lead. All they have to do is, hang on to the ball a little bit, take, smart shots. If the lane's open, drive it. But to stick on their defense assignments, and they're fine.
Absolutely. And Welding takes a timeout for the Blackhawks here, trying to get people organized. And we are thankful for our sponsors here at Regan's Corner Sports Network, Tolman Financial. leading retirement plan investment firm in LaPorte County, and All-Star
LaPorte's
Autos.
#1 used car dealer. All-Star Autos is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network. All-Star Autos specializes in high-quality used vehicles and excellent customer service. You could say it's out of this world. They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and
free as possible. Back to the action there, Matt and Raina.
Right. I mean, I think we're going to see the same as we saw in this first quarter from the Satellites. A new play there from Westville. 4 low, 1 high. Couldn't turn that into some points, but that was an odd play. I haven't seen that before.
Absolutely. I mean, what they're trying to do with that Princeton kind of or triangle offense that they're kind of showing is to break that switching man and kind of getting their players in space.
Yeah, and I think that's what's worked for Westville is them spreading out the Satellites defense so that they can't go in for those layups.
And a Blackhawk 3 there to draw them in a little bit closer. A 7-point game so far here with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Westville, I think, is progressively getting better throughout this game. Scaring the Satellites a little bit, I would say. Their lead dwindling in the first few minutes of the second quarter. Yeah, great backdoor there. I think we're going to switch back into a 2-3 for the Satellites here soon. The man doesn't quite seem to be working with the offense that Westville has.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First time I've ever said something like that I think the Satellites need to change their defense. A bit of frustration between, I think those are the two.
Between Kate Welsh and Lillian Tolman, you could see a little frustration from Kate Welsh, which usually isn't the case. Kate's
they're
usually
cool, calm, collected.
Yeah, I mean, but when you know you should beat this team by good 20, 30 points.
Yeah, and that rivalry too, you know, some added pressures onto this game.
And Olivia Marks draws the foul here.
Yeah, solid defense by Westville. Just that little bit of a reach there, but kind of night and day from what we said at the beginning of the game of the Satellites getting wide open shots. Not really the case here.
Well, they've definitely made some adjustments in the past couple of minutes. You know, now look at this. I mean,
right, we're seeing the energy.
They're right back in this game. Ever since I said, you know, what I said 10 minutes ago.
It's your fault. But Matt, I think the Satellites are kind of taking some from what you said before too. They're just taking to the basket, drawing those fouls.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then Sadie Marks, that's kind of what her game is driving. She's more of a slasher than what people give her credit for. And in this game, kind of already you've seen her kind of go into the low post a little bit and then ball handling kind of a little bit more than she has all year long. Maybe a little preview for next year.
Right, yeah, and I think she's been on this game too, so I think it's right that she's kind of taking this start position. She's just played well this game.
Absolutely.
And like we were saying before, you know, they have all 5. One of them is able to pick up the rope if their teammates are struggling a bit.
Kate Welsh with the rebound there. Throws it to Tolman. Tolman slashes into a nice little jump shot there. Before Tolman would just go through the trees. That was a nice little adjustment there by Lillian.
Yeah, again, just that confidence. It's hard to guard when they fully believe that they're going to make their layups, you know, and they're going straight at you. There's 3 girls right there, and yet gets a shot right in all of their faces.
Bowling basketball against Blackhawks, satellite ball.
Absolutely. With 1:47 to go here, and the Satellites with a 9-point lead. Hey, having a little brain fart there, folks, but
It happens, Good thing it wasn't a regular fart.
True. But you could see the frustration from Lillian with not getting a call there, because it looked like she got hit a little bit, but no call. They're letting them play a little bit here. The refs are.
Right, yeah. That's just something you have to recognize as a player. You can get frustrated. As a coach, I think you can get frustrated maybe once or twice, but you can't be blaming the ref for really anything. You have to take responsibility for it. And hopefully they can get back in that mindset. Never really seen them react to refs' calls before. A great take there.
Sadie Marks just said, "Thank you, ma'am. Let me get a 3-point play to settle this down a little bit."
Yeah, what I think Westville was doing great at the beginning of this quarter was, like we were saying before, they had someone guarding everyone that was down low. And really the Satellites' points are coming here is because they're getting these passes to these wide open players and they're able to make a play either by shooting a three or taking it in for a layup to get fouled. And to prevent that, Westville just needs to be on it on defense a little bit more and recognizing where the players are down on offense.
Absolutely. And Starks just going into that kind of warning trail that you see in every baseline and just throwing it to Marks with that steal. But she's walking the court up here. As a coach, what do you say to your point guard who keeps going into that trap and that kind of dead man zone?
Right, yeah, you're seeing that. You got, if your point guard's just not getting it, then you need to recognize as a teammate that you just need to get open and, get kind of closer to her because she's going to have an outlet to pass out to.
How about that
if
little?
you're getting trapped, someone's open, right? If there's two people on one person, someone else is open.
How about that little teardrop on the other side there? I like those shots moving in, and they're quick shots, but if you get them down, you're hardly gonna miss.
Absolutely. Mallory, as you just said, Matt, with a nice little tearjerker, with a nice little floater to kind of end the half here at a 10-point game. So what did you guys expect going into halftime here on RCSPN Union Mills? What did you see from the Satellites to kind of...
I think the Satellites have a very comfortable lead right now. They're up by 10, and Westville's hanging in with it. But, you really look at their record, it seems like they always fall apart in that second half. I think they're going to run out of gas, and Satellites are just going to add it on at the end from what I just saw.
Absolutely. So, Reina, what's your thoughts on it too? Like Matt just said, kind of the strength of Satellites is the conditioning.
Exactly. Yeah, they're consistent throughout the whole game, and I think what we have to see from Westville is they figured it out for a little bit there in the beginning of that second quarter. I think as a coach, he needs to see what changed in his players there and kind of bring that up to them. And what I think that Westville needs to keep up is they need to be a little bit more sharp on their defense, like I said before, recognizing where all the Satellites players are and making sure that someone's guarded at all times and keeping that energy. I would maybe probably go back into man because that seemed to help Westville just kind of lock down the Satellites and open it up for them to get some to dwindle that lead down. But then they lost it.
Absolutely. I think Benefield needs to get more touches. Number 14, and number 34, Mallory needs to get more touches in there, driving and trying to get into the 15-foot jump shot because both of them are deadly at that spot for Westville to even compete on the same level as the Satellites here. And then the Satellites, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you could see that, the emotions kind of getting to them a little bit, and they I wouldn't say fell apart, but they, had some adversity for a little bit, and they were able to bring it back, regain control of the game, and as long as they can keep it, there's really no worry for them. It's just kind of when Westville was able to take control of the game for that little bit of time, those few minutes, getting a bit dicey for the Satellites. Something they haven't seen in a while. You can't really blame them too. They've had a lot of blowouts recently.
Absolutely. Not many close games for the Satellites. As you've seen at Knox, just absolutely going right through them. But the game is about to begin again here pretty soon.
Hoping to see the presses again too. I liked those. Those were kind of keeping the pressure on the whole time for both teams. Because I think Westville has the tendency to, slowly walk the ball up. And that Satellite press just doesn't allow them to do that.
I think South Central got out of the press a little bit because Westville was starting to kind of break it in a little.
They were breaking it, but I think the Satellites are. I don't think they will go back into it, but I think if they did, it would help them out at the beginning of this third quarter. Because, like Matt was saying, they don't seem to be a second half team, Westville. So I think that pressure would make them crack a bit sooner.
Absolutely. And speaking of a drive, and Tolman just a little bit off the mark here.
Yeah, I thought that one was good. I was a bit surprised that just didn't go in.
But the aggressiveness, I like Lillian taking that shot there, trying to draw a foul.
Watch them space it out there. They're going to try and get inside here. They're going to try and pass it around. Watch, they're going to have somebody cut in right at the last second. That's what they're going to try and do. See, they just had two girls go in. It didn't work, so now they're forced to take that. That's usually what they've been doing. They send two girls in. If it's not there, take the three. So that's kind of predictable on their end.
Absolutely.
I mean, their offense isn't too confusing. It's just effective. Like, they're really good at running it. So, the Westville defense is kind of what I was hoping they would come out with, as I say, as the Satellites making it back in their press. But their defense was able to, they kept track of the players the whole time, but it's once they lose track of one player for a split second, right there.
And Olivia with a dime to Sadie Marks after Tolman makes it. That press, like you guys said, was just too much for the Blackhawks.
Here comes another steal. I mean, this press defense is really working into their favor. And, as soon as they take that ball, they're looking for the nearest person, and that's how they get that easy bucket. You always have that outlet down there. Just keep them open. They used to call it cherry picking because you're way wide open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they drill where the players are supposed to be, once they get a steal on that press. So, the players don't really have to look around on where they're supposed to pass it to. They know their teammate's going to be down by that block, ready for an easy layup, like Matt was saying.
Westville really loves taking those 15-foot shots, around that elbow area. I mean, they've been hitting those pretty good, as we just saw in that last one. If they can keep attacking that area, they can easily sneak back into this.
Absolutely. You got to get your star player Benefield and more with that height definition, because the Satellites are trying to get.
They have to have somebody back there, though, because, look, they just got burned again. They're just lucky she missed that layup.
Absolutely.
That's what I say for Westville to stay in, man. You need to keep track of your person. And, if you lose track of them, it's someone easy to blame. Everyone knows where they're supposed to be, And once Westville is able to do that, like I was saying, it's hard for the Satellites to score. But the minute you lose track of your man, they're going in for a layup or a three.
Absolutely. And Sadie Marks with a nice little dime to Livia Marks on the play there to stretch out this lead a little bit. And it seems like after halftime, their press is getting a little bit more tricky here for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, there you go. Just a few passes break that press pretty easily. The Blackhawks kind of figured it out, unable to capitalize on it there, but other teams just haven't been able to figure out that passing pattern that breaks the press. And once the Hawks have done that, we saw before in the first half that they break the press pretty easy and get some layups. So I think this next time that the Satellites are pressing, I think they might get out of it soon because it looks like the Blackhawks have found again how to break it.
And seems like the Blackhawks are just having mental breakdowns on defense here, just letting Sadie Marks just go camp into the lane there. It wasn't even a back door. It was a front door cut.
Yeah.
Just thank you, ma'am, and kind of just delivered like a package here, Amazon package here for South Central for those 2 points on the play there.
Oh, what is this?
And that was supposed to be our Tolman financial commercial. But the audio and the picture, due to the Wi-Fi here and Satellite Gym, just didn't work.
That Wi-Fi is the bane of our existence right now.
Absolutely.
All Wi-Fi is a bane of everybody's existence.
For sure. Absolutely. But we thank our realtor for sponsoring us here on Regan's Corner Sports Network.
What do we? Westville inbounding the ball. Satellites at a man or a 1-3-1. 1-3-1 it looks like.
They're going 1-3-1 with Lillian Tolman being kind of the spy here on the top of the zone.
That was my favorite defense, and I was that middle player too. It's a fun role to play, but that's a spot you kind of have to have a full view of the court and ready to be in help at almost all times.
Because usually when they go into this, you could see Lillian being more of kind of pressuring and stuff like that. They were kind of going a little bit back. I don't know if it was because of the score or if it was just because of them only playing 7 and then them actually getting tired a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, this has been kind of the score doesn't really look like it, but Westville's been pretty on the Satellites in their defense at times. Causing them to run around a little bit more than they've been used to.
Absolutely. And there was a boys game prior to this where the boys fall to Whiting by 6.
Look at South Central here, trying to get that double team everywhere. Yet look at that. I mean, in the end, they end up getting a foul, but that was like a last-second desperation thing going up. They should have just let her go up because I'm pretty sure it was just going to hit the under part of the hoop.
Absolutely.
They forced them to scramble. That's what you got to do. Keep them trying to get around you. Keep them trying to adjust and adjust. Once they adjust, you adjust. Make it more difficult for them. That's what they've been doing, not only in this game, but all year long.
Absolutely, Matt. You could kind of see that the Satellites have that kind of Mamba mentality. They're going to break you down mentally on what they can do with on a defensive end. Kind of just picking and picking and picking. It's like since it's NFL playoffs going on right now, it's kind of like Derrick Henry running constantly.
Speaking of NFL playoffs, the Vikings just got upset by the Giants.
I don't know anything about football.
That's a pretty big upset there, but
I'm saying all week the Vikings are going to lose. They've been overrated all year.
I mean,
I feel like people either love the Vikings or hate them.
I like the Vikings, but like the way they played this year, like everybody's like, "Oh, what about that comeback team or that comeback game?" I'm like, no offense, Josh, I know it's your team, but the Colts are not a team to brag about coming back against. Okay,
no offense.
They should have blown them out. They should have blown them out. Like I know that's your team, but it's true.
Anybody should blow them out when you have O-line coach. But anyway, Livia Marks with that rebound there, kind of getting back into swing of things here. And Hope Welsh, you can't leave her open because she's an all-day, all-night AP kind of scorer on that three-point range.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's frustrating as a coach. Not only has she been consistently this season on, but in this game, she has been shooting daggers. Just straight on.
You know, absolutely.
She's got to be shooting about over 50%
from
three. Like probably around 68, 70 right now with how many she's taking. But you've probably seen like 3 or 4 threes right now out of probably 6 or 5 shots. 3 out of 5, I would say right now for her.
Yeah, especially after these last few games, she's just not really missing on the threes. Almost a sure bet that she's going to make it. So, looking good. That's what you want. When you have range that just, of course, draws out that defense and just allows for more plays to happen.
Especially when all 6 of your main players, because Ben Anderson really just runs a 6-woman kind of whatever, but you could see why when all of them with the stamina that they have, and like why not, if it's not broke, why fix it? Especially when you know that you're blowing out most of your opponents, so you're gonna have the younger kids in anyway.
Exactly. And like, again, as a player, if you're doing everything right, it kind of seems as like a punishment to get subbed out. So as a coach, if your player is able to play great offense, great defense the whole game, like Josh was saying, there's no reason to take him out.
Absolutely not. And plus, when you have Sam Marks, you can just step in and probably be a starter in almost any other team in the PCC. As her 6th woman, I mean, especially the way she's playing right now, locked in.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and it kind of gives you a little bit of leeway as the players here. The luxury that they don't have is they're not really able to go, I would say, 100% a lot of the time. Just because you don't have that sub, but when you do have that 6th man, you have that little bit of leeway to know if you gas yourself out just a little bit too much, you'll have a few-minute break.
Absolutely. That's why you can kind of see that they're going a little bit slower in offense and just speeding it up like an Arkansas 1,000-minute like kind of hell kind of defense, because they're just running it right to the opponents constantly. But on offense, they kind of slow it up and kind of take it mentally in the strategies. Other than that pass right there, a little communication little thing from the Welshes, because you could see Westville kind of finally got up on Hope a little bit, and then Hope throws it away from her older sister, Kate.
Yeah, you just see it, just great form on defense. They make it look so easy, but when you really are able to, take this time, especially when their defense is kind of like this, you're able to see individually what they're doing a little bit better. They're able to a big block there too. They're just able. They have such quick feet, great form. They're just able to stay with their player the whole time. They don't have to worry about really help defense because no one gets by them.
Absolutely. And by the way, Olivia Marks given whatever player that was the little Mutombo wag, and then a steal on the other end.
They're just taunting this team at this point. Taunting. Making them feel like they're beneath them. That's what's going on here. Let's push them. Let's out-physical them. Let's take the ball whenever we feel like it. Let's do whatever they actually want. That's their mentality.
Absolutely. And the fans for Westville are starting to get a little rowdy here.
Oh.
I'm starting to get rowdy.
Matt's starting to get rowdy. But the scoreboard is not getting rowdy for the Blackhawks here.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, Westville, they can kind of look at this game and see glimpses of you said they're a young team. They can see glimpses of them being at, I would say, close to the same level as the Satellites, which is pretty. I'm sure they're not thinking about it right now, but pretty promising for the future. If you're slowly, finding your game and slowly figuring out how to beat tough teams.
Absolutely. Especially when you have most of your players are young players. I mean, they're really only missing Madison Starks, their point guard next year. This is kind of similar what Lillian Tolman and Olivia Marks kind of went through during their kind of underclassmen kind of days, where they had players that were upperclassmen they kind of leaned on and stuff like that. But South Central is a better program with the girls, so you wouldn't have that kind of like stoppage where most programs go through kind of a couple years where it's nothing. Where Hope Welsh just draws another three.
Yeah, Hope is just on it as per usual since the beginning of this game.
At this point in the game, you're in the last quarter. You're up pretty good. I say you try and start trying out new things. Like, the win's pretty much secure. I hate to sound like that, but it's inevitable right now. They
that's
keep
what you need
sticking
to
on their
do.
assignments. Yeah, they keep sticking with their assignments. I said try something different. Get prepared for the other games that are going to come around.
Yeah, I would like to see that 1-3-1 again. They don't run it often.
Yeah.
It looked good too. I think it's a good time to practice that.
I think they're kind of trying to get it out for the PCC tournament because knowing that almost every single game is on film and then broadcast probably several different times. So there's many chances for these other teams to look at them and scout without even going to the satellite gym.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a big disadvantage, but the satellites are just so good that it just doesn't seem to have mattered so far, is that they're so solid in the things that they do that even if you scout them, you just have to be a better team to beat them.
For sure. And kind of going, their defense is their best offense with that press.
Yes, absolutely. Like you were saying, they just get those solid passes after they get a steal on the press. It's a wide open layup. You don't need an offense for that, right? It's just a quick pass and go, fast break.
Starks tries getting set up here, kind of in a motion kind of offense or a 4
satellite coordinator, Olivia Marks.
The Blackhawks are so confused. They're confusing me as a broadcaster on what they're running here. Looks like
But
they're
yeah,
But you know who they're not confusing? South Central.
salads.
yeah, it looks like they're on like a two posts.
When I'm
At
calling
time-
a game, I automatically put myself as if I was playing in the game. I think that's the
Absolutely.
best thing you got to do.
I think they're trying to go with a
Understand
low
what's going
high.
on. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard to do, but you got to do your best to try.
Man, I think they're trying to go a low high with a guard and a big.
Yeah. Ooh, what was that shot?
Which traditionally you would go with your two bigs with low and high there.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, I have to say, this game I've seen quite a few air balls on both sides too, which is a bit odd.
And it's not like they're deep shots. They're like 10-foot shots.
yeah. It's just it seems like both teams a little bit off balance on their shots. Lately, it hasn't mattered too much for the satellites. I was expecting the satellites to get up to 60 in this game. It doesn't quite seem like they might be able to do it, but I'm not too sure. Just because of that slight unbalance, it's just kind of making those shots look a bit odd. and,
Absolutely. And Olivia Marks taking one after drawing the foul after going coast to coast, going into the stands after Westville kind of pushed her in a little bit in the back. Luckily, there was some boys basketball players to break her fall a little bit there. Brent Grass, the Rooster, which you guys will know a little bit more because I'll call him a little bit more the Rooster during baseball season, and Clayton Strout.
Yeah, we're able to see this offense again. Oh. It's alright, happens to the best of us. Sometimes you fall. But, yeah, like you're saying that with the guard and post offense, they seem to be running it a bit backwards, too. You saw the post flashing down instead of flashing up, which I thought was a bit odd, too. Couldn't quite see how the rest of that play was going to develop, but...
And Tolman with the steal here. Honestly, for the Blackhawks, I would like to see him play number 4 Vega a little bit more, the freshman. But Sam Marks with 2.
A little bit of a V cut.
They're going a little bit more traditional low high in this one.
Yeah.
But it's still not really that great when it's a man's switching pressure defense that the Satellites bring occasionally, about 90% of the time.
Yeah, and I have to say that again, that those type of plays kind of are more of like a slow play. The slowness just doesn't work with the Satellites. If they're in position, your offense isn't going to work. You have to get them out of position, and you do that with fast passing and taking it on the dribble. Or like the offense they were running before where they have it spread out a bit. That was working well for them.
Absolutely. Lillian Tolman with a draw foul there.
And that's the thing too, is any of the girls, if you foul them, you take them to the line, they don't really miss their free throws. So there isn't really one person you kind of target to kind of get them to the line, because all of them, I'm sure, have probably around 80% free throw percentage, if not higher.
Lillian knocks it down there for 2 there.
At this point, if you're Westville, I mean, obviously it's a move to like take your starters out or whatever. But I mean, you got to look on how you can keep into games like these. You got to work on that stuff. Like, not only can the satellites, try new things, but so can it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's you want to give it your all. This is like a great time to give 100% trying new things that you don't really get in practice. Where you
Never
can
play
kind of
like you're giving up. Keep playing. Like I've seen teams do that all the time. Like, they're down by 25 and they just give up. Like keep playing. There's still goals to be made even if you don't win a game. Like you can win a game, but none of your goals could have been met. So
right, yeah, and if you have that defeatist mentality, you're not gonna be a good or great player. A great player is someone that even with adversity,
they
they're giving it
a
their all
great player
100% of the
loses
time.
with pride. And when they win, they're never like, oh yeah, it was a good win. They're always looking to improve upon themselves.
But when you're 17-3, you get used to winning.
You do. Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely they've
but
been there before and they show it. It's also easy for the satellites and when they're blowing people out to also not give up, but get off the gas a little bit. And we just don't really see that. They maybe slow things down, but it's just instead of taking an okay shot, they're looking for good to great shots. They're not really,
yeah.
not doing anything.
But Josh, what you just said, like when your record is that good, 16-3, about to be 17, you it makes it harder to, like, when you do lose, like you really do feel it. Like I just saw a team the other day. It was 10-0 and they lost their first game, and they're more rejected than anything when you lose. So, like you got to win or like you got it's win or bust basically. When you have that record,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a good point. Those defeats are, especially when you're undefeated too.
yeah, because you're not expected to lose, and more pressure is on you to not lose.
Yeah, I felt that as a player, kind of you even have that pressure when you're playing a team that you're comfortable beating in a normal case, like if you had previously lost like 2 or 3 games, but now since you're undefeated, you're more nervous, I would say, or that's how I was as a player.
Absolutely. Um, but Westville, there's a lot of good things to kind of look at. They have a young kind of roster that's pretty talented, but you just need to, I don't know how to say it, but you got to grow with your coach. It's her first year. She's got to kind of grow as a coach as well, knowing that you have to adapt with this roster and kind of slow it down with a team like this.
Right, yeah, and as a coach, you're developing your philosophy, what you're valuing, and what type of uh, game you like to play as a coach. Satellites coach has been there for a while as an established team, has been with the girls. So, the girls know what type of game they're getting into.
Absolutely. Ben Anderson's been in the school district for a while now, being that he's a superintendent here at South Central. But he's been the principal for 3 or 4 years. Before this, Wes Booker, who's now the Westville athletic director, was their coach. Which it's kind of interesting that Westville didn't hire their athletic director to be coach after the boys coach is now the principal. Um, it just seems like these small schools hire their administration.
Yeah, that's odd. I haven't heard of that before. Them, being a principal or whatever. Normally, they're like a teacher at most.
Absolutely. But the Satellites win this ball game and move to 17-3. So, who are you guys players of the game for tonight's game, or of this rebroadcast for you guys at home?
I'm sticking with Hope. She was at mine at the beginning. She showed it again tonight. Her threes, her leadership. She's my player of the game.
Yeah, I'm going with Hope too. She played outstanding.
Absolutely. I'm going to break it up, guys. I'm going to break it up a little bit here. I'm going to go Sadie Marks. She had a double-double, 11, 10, with probably six assists. Very good stat line. And Hope had 18 points. It's pretty hard to go against the 18 points, but I'm going to go with Sadie Marks, with my player of the game. And Raina and Matt will be going with Hope Welsh as well. So that's why we had in our graphic Hope with the 32 with a player of the game and Sadie Marks with her 30 on the satellite. So stay in orbit, my friends, and we'll be right back with the Boone Grove game. And Raina and Matt will be on the call, and I will be producing for that one. So, you guys, that was an absolute thriller. So I can't wait for you guys to watch it at home with us. Again.
Woo!
Ooh.